Welcome, traveler. We're glad you're here. Every story you hear is made with care and passion. If you enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and check out the other adventures waiting for you on our channel. Your support means the world. Thank you. The quantum drive's whine pitched upward into a scream as the UEDF stealth destroyer Valiant tore through the fabric of spacetime. Emergency klaxons shattered the ship's night cycle with their three-tone wail. Lieutenant Maya Chen was moving before consciousness fully returned, muscle memory guiding her hands to the emergency kit above her cryopod. The bitter taste of revival meds coated her tongue. Warning: critical systems compromised. Breach protocol initiated. Time to completion, 27 minutes. The ship's AI spoke with inappropriate calm. Maya recognized the procedure name, but not the context. Breach protocol was an offensive tactic, not an emergency response. Her neural implant flickered to life, data scrolling across her field of vision. Catastrophic failures throughout the ship. Communications offline. Navigation compromised. 78% of crew still in cryo-sleep. Valiant, situation report, Maya demanded, her voice raspy from disuse. As the ship's quantum communications specialist, she should have been among the last awakened, not the first. Unable to comply. Command authorization required. Warning: quantum encryption compromised. The corridor's emergency lighting pulsed in muted crimson. Maya's bare feet registered the subtle vibration of the deck plates. The ship's power core was cycling irregularly, like a heart struggling to maintain rhythm. She pulled her uniform from the storage compartment. The fabric was cold against her skin, still holding the chill of prolonged storage. The Valiant had been on a classified mission to penetrate deep into Arcturus collective territory, tasked with deploying a revolutionary surveillance device capable of intercepting enemy quantum communications. Their mission brief had been clear: remain undetected, plant the device, return home. Simple in theory. Clearly not in practice. The corridor leading to the bridge stretched before her, emergency lighting casting strange shadows across the walls. Silence hung heavy between alarm bursts. No crew voices. No running footsteps. Valiant, who else is awake? Maya asked, her hand dropping instinctively to where her side-arm would be. It wasn't there. Standard protocol kept weapons locked during cryo revival. Captain Rosario. Lieutenant Commander Wallace. Chief Engineer Takeda. The RA's voice stuttered on the last name, a digital stammer that sent a chill up Maya's spine. Takeda is awake? Location: Chief Engineer Takeda is unknown. Error. Contradictory data. Something was very wrong with the ship's systems. Maya quickened her pace, the metal grating cold beneath her feet. Her implant attempted to connect with the ship's network, but the handshake protocols failed repeatedly. Either her implant was malfunctioning, or the ship's systems were compromised at a fundamental level. The bridge access door was sealed when she reached it. Maya placed her palm against the biometric scanner, wincing as a needle extracted a blood sample for DNA verification. The ship was operating under highest security protocols. Identity confirmed: Lieutenant Maya Chen, Quantum Communications. The door slid open with a hydraulic hiss. Captain Elena Rosario stood alone at the command console, her dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, uniform jacket missing. She turned at Maya's entrance, and the harsh light revealed a gash across her forehead, dried blood trailing down her temple. Chen. Good. I need your expertise. The captain's voice was tight with controlled panic. We're compromised. The bridge was a tableau of dysfunction. Holographic displays flickered with scrolling error codes. The main view screen showed only static, occasionally resolving into fragmented star charts before dissolving again. What happened? Maya asked, moving to her station. The quantum communications array was dark, its control surfaces locked down. Ambush. Captain Rosario tapped a series of commands into her console. A partial sensor log materialized in the air between them. We dropped out of FTL for a routine navigation check. Sensors showed nothing. Then this. The log showed a massive energy spike, followed by cascading system failures throughout the ship. Some kind of quantum pulse weapon, Rosario continued. Never seen anything like it. Not in simulations, not in intelligence reports. Maya's fingers hovered over her darkened console. The Arcturus Collective isn't supposed to have this kind of technology. Well, someone forgot to tell them that, Rosario said, her attempt at humor falling flat. But that's not the worst part. The pulse triggered something in our systems. A dormant code package. It's trying to execute what it's calling the breach protocol. Maya felt her blood run cold. That's impossible. Breach protocol is our offensive quantum hacking suite. It's designed to create backdoors in enemy quantum communication networks. Exactly. Rosario's eyes were hard. And now it's been turned against us. If it completes its execution cycle, it will transmit our own quantum encryption keys to whoever fired that pulse. The implications hit Maya like a physical blow. The UEDF's entire secure communications network would be compromised. Fleet deployments, defensive positions, colony locations, all would be exposed. How long? Maya asked. 23 minutes until completion. Maya's mind raced. Wallace? Takeda? Where are they? Rosario's face tightened. Wallace is dead. Found him in engineering with his throat cut. As for Takeda. She paused. The ship logs show him accessing the quantum communications array 12 minutes before the attack. Then nothing. You think he's the saboteur, Maya said. It wasn't a question. The evidence points that way. His family has ties to the Arcturus colonies. Maya had served with Takeda for 3 years. The quiet, brilliant engineer had never shown any sign of divided loyalties. But war changed people, twisted them in ways you couldn't predict. We need to stop the protocol, Maya said. I should be able to access the core system, and a violent shudder ran through the ship, throwing Maya against her console. Alarms that had momentarily silenced began screeching again. They're back, Rosario said, fingers dancing across her tactical display. 3 Arcturus vessels. Destroyers, Scimitar class. They're jamming us, Maya noted, watching communication channels go dark one by one. Standard UEDF procedure would be to self-destruct rather than allow the ship to be captured. Rosario's laugh was bitter. Already tried. Self-destruct systems are offline. Whatever they hit us with, they wanted us intact. A new thought occurred to Maya. The surveillance device. The one we were supposed to plant. Could we use it? Rosario looked up sharply. What are you suggesting? It was designed to create a backdoor into their quantum communications. If I can reconfigure it, maybe I can use it to counter their attack. Fight fire with fire. Hope flickered in the captain's eyes. It's in the secure weapons bay. Deck C. But Chen, her gaze intensified. If this doesn't work, and they board us, you need to physically destroy that device. They cannot get their hands on it. Maya nodded, understanding the unspoken order. Ensure the technology didn't fall into enemy hands, regardless of personal cost. I'll need your command authorization to access the weapons bay, Maya said. Rosario pressed her palm against her console. Transferring to your implant now. Maya felt the data packet arrive, a subtle pressure behind her eyes as the authorization codes integrated with her neural systems. Go, Rosario said. I'll try to buy you time. Maya turned to leave, then paused. Captain. If Takeda is still on board, I'll handle Takeda, Rosario said, pulling a sidearm from beneath her console. Just stop that protocol. The corridor outside the bridge was darker now, more emergency systems failing. Maya ran, her footsteps echoing against metal grating. Her neural implant projected a map overlay, guiding her toward Deck C. A maintenance shaft would be faster than the main corridors. Maya pried open an access panel and climbed inside, the narrow tube barely wide enough for her shoulders. The air was stale, tasting of metal and ozone. 20 minutes remaining. As she crawled through the ship's mechanical arteries, Maya's thoughts raced ahead. The surveillance device, codenamed Whisper, had been the mission's primary objective. A quantum technology breakthrough that could passively intercept and decode the collective's most secure transmissions. The tide turner in a war that had stretched on for 7 bloody years, now it might be their only hope of survival. A sound echoed through the shaft ahead, metal on metal. Someone else was in the maintenance tubes. Maya froze, listening. The ship's AI had reported only 3 crew members awake, and 1 was confirmed dead. If Rosario was on the bridge, then Takeda, she called, her voice barely above a whisper.no response, but the sound stopped. Maya carefully extracted a multi-tool from her pocket. Not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. She inched forward, straining to hear above the ship's groaning hull and distant alarms. A junction approached, a 4-way intersection in the maintenance network. As she reached it, a shadow moved to her right. Maya lunged, multi-tool raised, and stopped just short of Chief Engineer Takeda's throat. His eyes were wide, his face streaked with soot and what looked like blood. "Chen," he gasped. "Don't. It's me." "Don't move," Maya ordered, keeping the improvised weapon steady. "The captain says you're a traitor." Takeda's expression shifted from fear to confusion. "What? That's insane. I've been trying to contain the damage from the attack." "Then why did you access the quantum communications array before it happened?" "How did you know?" "I didn't." Takeda's voice was desperate. "I was running a diagnostic. Standard procedure before we prepare to deploy Whisper." "Maya, you know me. I'm not a traitor." She studied his face. They'd served together for 3 years. Shared meals, shared stories of home. He'd shown her pictures of his children, still on Earth, waiting for the war to end. "If you're not the saboteur, then who is?" she demanded. Takeda's eyes darted away, then back. "I don't know for certain, but I found something. In the system logs. Someone's been making weekly transmissions on a narrowband frequency. Ultra-compressed data bursts. The kind you'd use if you were trying to avoid detection." "Who?" "I couldn't trace it directly, but the transmissions always originated during gamma shift, when the bridge crew rotates. Only senior officers have access during that time. Including Captain Rosario." Maya lowered the multi-tool, her mind reeling. Could the captain be the traitor? It seemed impossible, yet, the breach protocol, she said. "We need to stop it." "I was heading to the weapons bay to get Whisper. I thought maybe I could repurpose it." Takeda nodded. "Good thinking. I can help. I know Whisper's systems better than anyone except you." Maya hesitated, then made her decision. "Follow me. But stay behind." They moved through the maintenance shaft in tense silence, emerging on Deck C near the weapons bay. The corridor here was completely dark, emergency lighting having failed. Maya activated the light on her neural implant, casting a narrow beam ahead. The weapons bay door was ajar. It shouldn't have been. Maya signaled Takeda to stop, then approached cautiously. The beam from her implant swept across the darkened room, illuminating weapons racks, equipment cases, and a figure hunched over a workbench. Lieutenant Commander Wallace. Very much alive, despite the captain's claim. Maya's sharp intake of breath alerted him. Wallace spun, a pistol in his hand, aiming directly at her chest. "Lieutenant Chen. Right on time." His voice was eerily calm. "I was hoping you'd figure it out." Behind her, Maya heard Takeda's whispered curse. "You're supposed to be dead," Maya said, mind racing to process this new development. "A necessary deception," Wallace replied. "The captain needed someone to blame. I provided the convenient corpse of another crew member." He gestured with his gun. "Come in, both of you. Close the door." They complied. On the workbench behind Wallace lay Whisper, its casing open, internal components exposed. He had been modifying it. "The captain said you were dead," Maya repeated. "She said Takeda was the traitor." Wallace smiled thinly. "And who do you think gave me access to the quantum communications array?" Who authorized the course correction that brought us directly into the path of those collective ships? Who disabled the self-destruct systems before the attack even happened? Rosario, Takeda whispered. The captain has been working for the collective for years, Wallace confirmed. Feeding them intelligence, helping them prepare for this moment. The perfect mole, above suspicion. Why tell us this? Maya asked. You're just going to kill us anyway. Wallace shook his head. Because I need your help, Lieutenant Chen. Both of you. I'm not working for the collective. I'm deep cover UEDF intelligence. I've been tracking Rosario for months, gathering evidence. But I need your quantum expertise to finish this. Maya's suspicion must have shown on her face, because Wallace slowly lowered his weapon. If I were with the collective, I'd have shot you both already and completed the modifications to Whisper myself. But I can't. I'm good, but not that good. You designed parts of this system, Chen. You're the only one who can reconfigure it in time. 15 minutes remaining and Maya glanced at Takeda, who looked equally uncertain. What do you want me to do? She finally asked. Exactly what you came here to do, Wallace said. Repurpose Whisper to counter the breach protocol. But with one crucial difference. He tapped the exposed device. I need you to make it target the collective ships out there. If we can turn their own quantum attack back on them, we could access their systems, Maya finished, understanding dawning. Shut down their weapons, maybe even take control of their ships. Exactly. A counterhack, using their own intrusion as the access point. It was audacious. Possibly brilliant. And they had no time to debate. I'll need tools, Maya said, already moving toward the workbench. And I'll need access to the power systems, Takeda added. Whisper will draw massive energy for this kind of application. Wallace nodded. Do it. Maya lost herself in the delicate work, fingers dancing across Whisper's quantum processor matrix, reconfiguring pathways, rewriting command protocols. The device had been designed for passive surveillance, not active intrusion. Making it work as an offensive weapon would push its systems to the breaking point. 12 minutes. How's it coming? Wallace asked, peering over her shoulder. I need to invert the phase coupling, Maya replied absently, deep in the flow of the work. Takeda, can you boost power to the primary buffer? Working on it, the engineer replied from a nearby console. But we've got another problem. The collective ships are moving into position around us. Boarding is imminent. Keep working, Wallace ordered. I'll seal the bay doors. Buy us time. As he moved away, Maya felt Takeda lean close. Do you trust him? Takeda whispered. Maya didn't look up from her work. Do we have a choice? The reconfiguration was proving more difficult than she'd anticipated. Whisper's systems were fighting her changes, safety protocols engaging automatically to prevent exactly the kind of offensive application she was attempting. 9 minutes. A distant explosion rocked the ship. Takeda stumbled, catching himself on the edge of the workbench. They've breached the outer hull, Wallace reported, returning from the door. Deck E. We don't have much time. Maya's fingers flew faster, bypassing security measures, jerry-rigging connections that engineering standards would consider abominations. Whisper had been designed with elegant precision for a specific purpose. She was turning it into a bludgeon. Almost there, she muttered. Takeda, I need more power to the transmission array. Any more and we risk overloading the entire system, he warned. Do it anyway. 7 minutes. The ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain Rosario's voice filled the weapons bay. Lieutenant Chen. I know you can hear me. Whatever Wallace has told you is a lie. He is the traitor, not me. Return Whisper to the bridge immediately, or I will be forced to consider you compromised as well. Wallace reached for the intercom control. Don't listen to, wait, Maya interrupted. She hit the response button. Captain, Wallace says you're the one working with the collective. That you disabled our systems before the attack. A moment of silence. That's absurd, Rosario replied, but there was something in her voice, a slight hesitation. Wallace is trying to manipulate you. Think, Chen. Who had access to the quantum communications array? Who was mysteriously dead and then suddenly reappeared? Maya glanced at Wallace, whose face remained impassive. If you're loyal to the UEDF, Rosario continued, bring Whisper to the bridge. Now. Maya cut the connection. She's stalling, Wallace said. Trying to keep you from completing the reconfiguration before the breach protocol finishes. Or you are, Maya retorted. I don't know who to trust. Trust the mission, Wallace said simply. Finish Whisper. If I'm lying, the worst that happens is we fail to stop the collective. If she's lying and you don't finish this, it's another explosion, closer this time. The lights flickered. 5 minutes until breach protocol completion, the ship's AI announced. Maya returned to her work, a cold clarity settling over her. Trust had become a luxury they couldn't afford. The only path was forward. There, she said, sealing the final connection. It's ready. But we'll only get one shot. The transmission will burn out Whisper's primary circuits. How do we trigger it? Wallace asked. It needs to be directly connected to the main communications array on the bridge, Maya explained. I've modified it to transmit a cascading quantum feedback loop that should disrupt the breach protocol and reverse engineer access to the collective ships. Should? Takeda questioned. Maya managed a grim smile. This isn't exactly a tested application. The bridge, then, Wallace said, checking his weapon. Let's move. They left the weapons bay, Whisper secure in a portable case. The corridors were filling with smoke, damage from the collective's breaching charges spreading through the ship's systems. Deck E has been compromised, the ship's AI announced. Hostile forces detected. They were out of time. Maya made a decision. There's a maintenance access port that connects directly to the bridge environmental systems, she said. We can bypass the main corridors, avoid both Rosario and the boarding parties. Lead the way, Wallace ordered. The access port was narrow, designed for repair drones rather than humans. They crawled in single file, Maya, then Wallace, then Takeda. The tiny space amplified every sound, their breathing, the scrape of fabric against metal, the distant thunder of combat. 3 minutes the port ended in a grate overlooking the bridge. Through it, Maya could see Captain Rosario still at the command console, now flanked by 2 security officers she didn't recognize. They must have been awakened from cryo after Maya left. How do we do this? Wallace whispered. We're outnumbered. Maya studied the bridge layout. The communications array was 10 meters from their position, exposed and undefended. But to reach it, they'd have to cross directly in front of Rosario. I'll create a diversion, Takeda offered. Draw their fire while you two connect Whisper. No, Maya said. I'll go. I know exactly how to connect it. You two provide covering fire. Before either could object, Maya kicked out the grate and dropped to the bridge floor, Whisper clutched against her chest. She landed in a roll, coming up running toward the communications array. Stop her! Rosario shouted. The security officers raised their weapons. Wallace and Takeda opened fire from the access port, forcing the officers to duck for cover. Maya slid the final distance to the array, fingers already working to connect Whisper's interface cables. Chen! Rosario had drawn her own weapon, aiming it at Maya's head. Stop this now! Why, Captain? Maya asked, continuing her work. So the collective can access our entire defense network? How many UEDF ships will die if that happens? You don't understand, Rosario said, her voice suddenly tired. This war is already lost. Has been from the beginning. The collective has technology we can't match, resources we can't compete with. I'm trying to save lives, not destroy them. By committing treason? Maya connected the final cable. Whisper hummed to life, interfacing with the ship's systems. By negotiating a conditional surrender, Rosario countered. Terms that will allow Earth to maintain some autonomy. It's the best we can hope for. Maya paused, finger hovering over Whisper's activation control. You don't get to make that choice for all of humanity, Captain. 1 minute until breach protocol completion, the AI announced. If you activate that device, Rosario warned, you could start a cascade that destroys both fleets. Is that what you want? More death? For a moment, doubt crept into Maya's mind. What if Rosario was right? What if this was the only way to end the bloodshed? A memory surfaced, her younger brother's face the day she shipped out, his eyes filled with both pride and fear. Come back, he'd said. Promise you'll come back. She'd promised. Not just to return, but to return to an Earth that was still free. I'm sorry, Captain, Maya said. But surrender isn't an option I can accept. She activated Whisper. The device blazed with blue-white energy, tendrils of quantum interference spreading across the communications array. On the main view screen, the breach protocol status indicator suddenly reversed. Counting backward, Rosario lunged forward, but it was too late. The quantum feedback loop had begun. The ship shuddered as Whisper channeled massive energy through systems never designed for such power. Sparks erupted from consoles across the bridge. The view screen flickered, then stabilized, showing the 3 collective destroyers surrounding them. What have you done? Rosario whispered. 30 seconds to quantum intrusion, the AI announced, its voice somehow different, stronger, more focused. The collective ships began to move, their formations breaking, thrusters firing erratically. It's working, Wallace said, emerging from the access port, weapons still trained on Rosario. Their systems are compromised. On the view screen, one of the destroyers suddenly opened fire, not on the Valiant, but on another collective ship. The third vessel attempted to flee, engines flaring, but moved directly into the line of fire. 10 seconds to complete system override, the AI reported. Whisper was glowing now, its components melting under the strain. Maya stepped back, feeling the heat radiating from the device. Quantum intrusion complete. Collective vessel control systems accessed. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the collective ships turned their weapons on themselves, precision strikes targeting engines and weapon systems, disabling rather than destroying. We have control of their fleet, Maya realized. We can end this war today. Wallace nodded, a grim satisfaction in his eyes. And with their quantum encryption compromised, we can access their entire military network. Every ship, every base, every colony. Complete victory, Takeda said quietly. Rosario sank to her knees, weapon clattering to the floor. You don't understand what you've done. The collective will never surrender. They'll destroy their own colonies rather than submit. Maybe, Wallace acknowledged. Or maybe they'll recognize that continuing this war means their complete annihilation. Either way, Captain, it's no longer your concern. You'll face a military tribunal when we return to Earth. Maya turned away from the fallen captain, her attention drawn to Whisper as it gave one final surge of energy before going dark, its purpose fulfilled, its circuits burned out. In that moment, as the adrenaline began to fade, Maya felt the weight of their actions settle upon her shoulders. They had changed the course of the war, perhaps the course of human history. The consequences would unfold in ways they couldn't predict. Lieutenant Chen, the AI said, its voice now returned to normal. Priority message incoming from UEDF command. Maya straightened her uniform, suddenly aware of how disheveled she must look. Put it through. Admiral Chandra's face appeared on the view screen, his expression a mixture of disbelief and cautious hope. Valiant, we're receiving telemetry indicating you've somehow gained control of multiple collective vessels. Please confirm. Maya glanced at Wallace, who nodded for her to proceed. Confirmed, Admiral. We've successfully reversed an enemy quantum intrusion attempt and established control over 3 collective destroyers. We also have access to their encryption protocols. A moment of stunned silence. Lieutenant Chen, the Admiral finally said, I don't know how you accomplished this, but you've just handed us the key to ending this war. Well done. Thank you, sir, Maya replied, though the words felt inadequate. We have a situation aboard the Valiant that requires attention. Captain Rosario has been collaborating with the enemy. Lieutenant Commander Wallace has evidence. The Admiral's expression darkened. Secure the captain and return to Earth immediately. We'll have a full debriefing team waiting. And Lieutenant. So. Your brother will be proud. We all are. As the transmission ended, Maya found herself staring at the darkened whisper device, its casing warped and melted, its purpose fulfilled. Like the quantum uncertainties it had been designed to exploit, the future remained unknowable, full of both promise and peril, but for the first time in 7 years of war, that future would be humanity's to determine. The quantum drive spooled up, its familiar whine building as the Valiant prepared for the journey home, leaving behind 3 disabled collective destroyers and, perhaps, the turning point in humanity's greatest conflict. Maya Chen closed her eyes and listened to the sound of victory.